Hey there everybody, it's Jasper with the Boys and Girls Club of Contra, Costa, and today is the final episode for our chocolate recipe. Now, we are going to be making real chocolate, so hopefully you got a hold of all the ingredients that we're going to be talking about in the next couple minutes. So, if you have all those ingredients and you're ready to learn how to make real chocolate, let's go ahead and jump right in. All right, the time has come. We are going to make chocolate, and we are going to need several items to make that happen. For our recipe, making real chocolate, we are going to need our cocoa powder and cocoa butter. Just to recap, cocoa butter can be found online or at an organic store usually. Now, these two items on their own will make a dark chocolate, but we are going to need something a little bit sweet to make it manageable. So, when it comes to sweetness, we have multiple options to us. We can either go ahead and buy ourselves a corn syrup, or we can make our own homemade syrup using cane sugar and water. The simple way to do this is to take a pot of half a cup of water and get that water boiling. Then add a cup of sugar to that pot. Turn off the heat and let that boil down for about 15 minutes. When the mixture cools, you have got yourself a simple sugar that will work perfect for our chocolate bar. As an optional ingredient, you can actually get yourself some milk powder and try adding that to our chocolate bar as well. The tools we will be using to cook the chocolate will be a double boiler method. For this boiler method, we need a pot with a little bit of water that is steaming underneath, and either another smaller pot or a bowl on top that covers the whole pot. We are also going to want a silicone spatula, and if you have one, a digital thermometer. This isn't going to be impossible if you don't have one, but you will be able to make chocolate way easier if you can tell what temperature the chocolate is. I highly recommend having a digital thermometer. Now that we have all of our ingredients, let's go ahead and prepare them. In a container, we are going to go ahead and put 25 grams of cocoa powder. Or if you don't have a digital scale, that is 1/4 cup of cocoa powder. Next, we are going to need 50 grams of cocoa butter. Or if we grate down our cocoa butter, cutting it down with a knife on a cutting board, that will result in giving us a half cup of cocoa butter. We are also going to want 20 milliliters or 1 tablespoon of natural sweetener. After all of our ingredients are prepped, we are going to want to go ahead and get our double boiler going. So you'll actually take your bottom pot of water, which is not going to be filled up to the top. You barely want any water in there. About 1/4 of the pot. And you're going to put that on a burner set to low heat. Next, you are going to put your second pot or glass bowl, or even better, a metal bowl on top of that pot, making sure that no steam gets up and around the sides. The biggest thing we do not want is water ending up in our chocolate mixture, which will cause it to fail. After letting our double boilers stand for a couple minutes, we can go ahead and throw in our cocoa butter and our cocoa powder. We can go ahead and start stirring with our silicone spatula. And you'll notice it doesn't melt as quick as you would think, but give it some time, continuously, patiently stir the mixture. After all the cocoa butter has melted and the cocoa powder has been incorporated, this is a great time to check on the temperature. Our goal is to heat the chocolate up to 110 degrees. The maximum that you can heat up this chocolate before the crystals in it go bad is 115. If we don't get exact temperatures, the crystals that are in cocoa butter can solidify in 6 different ways, and we only want it to form in 1. If our measurements are off or the temperature is off, your chocolate is not going to look or snap just like real chocolate would. You can see one of my failed attempts ended up coming out more like a Tootsie Roll than it did a bar of chocolate. But going back to our real chocolate, after you reach a temperature of 110 degrees, go ahead and take that top layer off of your double boiler and begin stirring it consistently. We're going to cool this chocolate mixture down to 84 degrees. A great way to help with that is to go ahead and pour in our liquid sweetener mixture. There are multiple methods to be able to cool down chocolate, but our goal is to make air go into our chocolate. Stirring our chocolate will help with that. Taking our chocolate and putting it in a fresh room temperature container can also help cool down our chocolate. Now, we are trying to cool our chocolate down to 84 degrees to reach the proper temperature. If we don't, if it's too hot, the chocolate won't set. If it's too cold, the chocolate will not be malleable, and the crystals will set incorrectly. But after we get to 84 degrees, we are going to go ahead and take our container and put it back on top of our double boiler to reach a higher temperature of 88 degrees. By doing this, we are telling the cocoa butter crystals to set at this exact temperature. Again, while constantly stirring, when we reach 88 degrees, our chocolate is ready to be placed into molds. When it comes to your molds, absolutely be creative. There are plenty of silicone molds that you can get, or even little to-go cup containers will be able to make a decent chocolate mold. If you want to get even more creative, you can actually lay out your parchment paper and lay that out in little chocolate strands, almost making chocolate sprinkles. After your chocolate is laid out in its mold, it should be able to set at room temperature. How you will know that you have finally succeeded in making real chocolate is that when you go to pick it up, it doesn't come off on your fingers, it is not soft but firm, and makes a snapping sound when you break it in half. Depending on your mold, you may even get a glossy texture to the outside of your chocolate. And there you have it, real chocolate. You can see I actually took multiple attempts at making chocolate and failed a lot of the time. But when you finally succeed, it is so satisfying to accomplish. Ah! Yeah! Yes! Don't be afraid to experiment and try putting other things into your chocolate. Man, real chocolate is not easy to make, but it is so satisfying when you actually succeed. And there's plenty of different ways to present your beautiful creation. Thank you all for persevering with me as we make one of our hardest recipes this week. By all means, watch this video as many times as you can. Find other videos if you're interested in figuring out how to make this chocolate even better than what we showed here today. Because remember, the most important ingredient in any recipe is actually you. You, the chef, are able to make extraordinary things. And I hope that you were able to learn something for when you want to be the chef in your kitchen. All right? So if you liked this video, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you next time. All right? Take care, everybody.